Hey there guys, I'm back again, and today I am gonna do, finally, my third trimester, and as well with that I wanted to do separately, but I'm not. So this is gonna be like the third trimester video and the birth story in one, because I didn't have a normal birth, and these two kind of go hand in hand. So today we're gonna talk about everything, and I'm gonna show you my beautiful little boy. Oh, and by the way, it's almost a year since he's been born. Like next Saturday is his actual birthday. I know I'm very, very late with this, and honestly, I don't mind because a lot of shit has gone down this year, and I was just busy with a hell of a lot. I'm sorry, but it's also kind of nice to look back at the birth and my last trimester when it's almost, you know, his birthday. So I kind of wanted to wait with this. So today is the day. Okay, so when my third trimester started out, they pretty much told me that I was supposed to give birth. That's kind of what they predicted, the 13th of August. That didn't happen. I gave birth a hell of a lot sooner than that. I'll get to that. As soon as the third trimester started, I was experiencing some serious pains in my back. They were so intense and so heavy that I actually could not even walk. Even lying down was just extremely painful. But I figured, you know, it's the third trimester, the last one. It's probably, you know, what's supposed to happen. You hear of a lot of pregnant women within their third trimester experiencing really heavy back pain. So I figured I just need to suck it up, you know, and just for about 3 more months until the baby is here, and, you know, just, I don't know, grind your teeth together, just hold on, be strong. This too shall pass. Well, unfortunately for me, it did not. Now, let me explain one thing that I was experiencing. I did not have a belly whatsoever. You see, usually with pregnant women, especially in the third trimester, they're gonna have a hell of a big belly. I did not. As a matter of fact, when people looked at me, they could tell I was pregnant, but my stomach was kind of out of shape. It wasn't the normal round thing. It was like a little bit of here, and then a little lump here, and then a hole here. It just looked messy. But I was about 9 months pregnant when a neighbor of mine actually asked me, how far along are you? And I told her I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm about to give birth. So this was at the end of my third trimester. And she just looked at me like, what? I thought you were like 5 or 6 months pregnant, because they figured because I had not that big of a belly. And I told her, no, I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm about to give birth. And she was just looking at me like, no way. You see, guys, what had happened throughout my pregnancy, and I didn't really notice that in the second trimester. I noticed it more so in the third, was the baby was not growing outside. So I didn't have a belly. As a matter of fact, my son grew towards, like, inside of my body instead of the outside. So what happened was I hardly had a belly. You know those stories that if there's a program like I didn't know I was pregnant? I swear to God, well, I knew I was pregnant, but I swear to God, I could have joined the show. Like, I looked as if I was just like fat and just gained weight, but not as if I was pregnant. So that, just, you know, just a little side story to that. That is how my belly looked like. When I was 9 months pregnant, I looked like I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant, tops. So yeah, I got looked at a lot, like weird. Like people were like, is she just fat or is she pregnant? I was pregnant. Anyway, I was experiencing some really heavy back pain. I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit. Like I said, lying down was really hard. But the problem was I had a wedding to go to. My cousin was about to get married, and I wanted to go. My sister went. My sister was the witness, and I just really wanted to be there. So I asked my doctor, like, look, I know I'm about to give birth. Is it okay if I go to this wedding? Because it is on the freaking opposite side of the country, and I could technically go into labor. And so the doctor told me, like, it's fine. However, this is kind of going to be your last hurrah, because after that, don't go too far because you just might give birth, and I had to give birth in the hospital. That was mandatory because I had a gastric bypass done, and they were also doing a study because they don't know a lot just yet about women who had a gastric bypass done in the past and who are pregnant now. And I was clearly one of them, so I was part of that study, so I couldn't go too far because clearly they wanted me in the hospital when I give birth to check on all of your vitals, on the baby's vitals, blah, 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 you name it. So he told me, or actually she told me, excuse me, female, she told me, don't go too far. This is like your last thing and then you're done. So this was in the beginning of July. This was the 5th of July. I think it was the 5th or the 6th. No, I think it was 5th of July. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that's when the wedding took place. So I rented a hotel for the weekend, and we went there, and the wedding was awesome. It was really fun. However, unfortunately for me, at the end of the night, I started to get, what are they called in English? In Dutch, they're called voorweeën, which means you are experiencing labor pains, but you're not in labor just yet, like the pre-labor pains. I'm not really sure how you call it in England, America, whatever. But anyway, I was experiencing that on the wedding. So I went and sat outside because I don't want to cause a scene inside. But unfortunately, people noticed. So I was sitting outside and I told my cousin, like, I'm sorry, but I need to go home. I'm experiencing the pre-labor pains. I was in hell. Like, they were pains, like back pains, not the front labor pains. I had the back labor pains, which kind of made me guess, like, if I'm going to go into labor, I'm probably going to have the back kind of pains instead of the front. You have, like, women have either front labor pains or back labor pains. Well, I was the one that had the back ones. And they went from the back side, towards your front, and they hurt like hell. So eventually I had to call quits on the wedding. The next day I was going to go home. I booked a hotel for 3 days, 2 nights. And when I got to the hotel, I figured I'm going to take a shower, because I read when people stood in the shower for a long time, like having the water on the place of where it hurts. So like the shower hose was up, and I just, kind of leaned my back towards it, and I just let the water flow for a good solid half hour. Yes, it's wasting water, but hey, when you're in labor, or no, not in labor, excuse me, when you're experiencing labor pains, don't even, okay? So I left the shower hose on, and honestly, I can tell you guys that helped. It really did. The pains were gone. I had such a good sleep in that hotel. It was amazing. So if you're experiencing that or going to experience that, just remember it, because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of shows clearly that said, a lot of women said when you have these pre-labor pains, take a hot shower and just put the hose where it hurts, either your tummy or your back. And for me, it was the back. And I did. And like I said, it worked. I had a great sleep. The next day we went back home, and that is where shit just hit the fan. A few days has gone by, which were pretty good, pretty solid. I was walking around, I was doing stuff, light stuff, nothing too bad. But slowly but surely the pain came back. Not the pre-labor pains, but the pain I had before, when I was worried whether or not I could go to that wedding. My back just started hurting again, and it spread towards my butt and my leg, and it was my right butt and leg. The left one was fine. I was not experiencing any pain whatsoever in my left leg or butt. It was just the right one. And the pain got worse and worse and worse, where at a point I couldn't even I couldn't move. And I don't mean like, she couldn't move, like the saying, he couldn't move. No, I literally could not move because I would be screaming in agony, and I mean screaming at the top of my lungs. Like seriously, everybody in this apartment probably heard me. That's how bad it was. And that was the moment where I said, I need to go to the hospital. Something's wrong. Something is wrong because this is not the normal pain you have right before you go into labor or just the general third trimester pain. Something is up. So we rushed to the hospital. I called them and I was crying. I was scream crying from pain, seriously. And I remember when we went to the hospital, I just grabbed the nurse and I told her, please help me. And I was crying, like sobbing. It was like Niagara Falls out of my eyes. And I just told her, like, I can't help me. Just please help me. This baby has to come out because I am going insane of the pain. So she immediately rushed me into a room. She shot something in my leg. At the time, I did not know what it was. So later on, I figured out that what she had shot into me was actually morphine. I was a little bit taken aback by that because I'm freaking pregnant and the baby's not supposed to get morphine. It's very dangerous for the baby. And she went away to discuss with the doctor that was there, and they told me, like, you're not going to be going home anymore until you give birth because you're going to stay in the hospital. Something's wrong with you and we have to figure out, you know, what to do with you and the baby. And of course the baby can't be in jeopardy either. So they told me, you're going to stay here until you give birth. And mind you, I was at that time 35 weeks pregnant, which meant if I wanted to reach 40 weeks, I had to stay in the hospital for 5 freaking weeks. That's also the reason why in that period back in July, August, there were literally no videos uploaded here because I wasn't home. I was actually in the hospital. So once I got situated in my own room, I got my own room. I was alone in there, which was very, very nice. There was a thing called Corona, as we all know, and the problem with Corona was the fact that nobody was allowed to visit. I was only allowed one visitor a day, and so that meant that my mom, my sister, nobody could come but the father of my child, and he could only come like after work, which meant he was only going to be there about 9 or 10 in the night, and he only stayed for like 10 minutes because of course he had to work the next day and he had to leave. So basically I was freaking alone, and my sister came by once and I asked, like, look, he isn't gonna come here until freaking late at night. He's gonna leave in 10 minutes. I'm freaking alone all of the day, and my sister wants to come because she wants to bring stuff over. Can she come? And literally the nurse said yes. So my sister came and she stayed a while, and then eventually she left, and then because she had to take some stuff to wash it at home and then bring me some more stuff. So she would come back the next day to, you know, deliver some stuff. And then this superior nurse came in like freaking Hitler, like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna do it. Oh my God, did she just say that? Yeah, I did. I was so pissed off at that point, and she came in with a stupid chart and she was like, do you understand? We have rules and regulations in this hospital and your visitors are crossing it. And mind you, I'm dying of pain. I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm dying in pain. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You're gonna lecture me about my visitors? Like, what the hell? I swear to God, I could strangle her at that point. Like, don't mess with a woman that is filled with hormones. You just don't. And she came in and lectured me like I was some kind of child. And she told me, like, we're only allowed 1 visitor a day, not more. And you need to stick to that. You hear me? And I was like, okay. Here's my problem with that. You're allowed 1 visitor a day. That's fine. However, there are like other women, like literally the woman next to my room had her partner and like 5 freaking kids with him, actually, I should say. So they were like, I don't know, 5 kids, 4 or 5 kids, partner, like 5 or 6 people were coming in daily and staying for hours at an end. Their children running down the hall. And I was looking at her, and you're gonna bother me about one freaking visitor that comes in at night for like 10 minutes, and then my sister wanting to come by to literally drop off stuff that I need in here because I need to stay here until I give birth. And she's, you know, gonna stay here for like, what, an hour? You're gonna bother me about that when she has like 5 or 6 people over? Are you kidding me? And she was like, yeah, but they're from one family. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna put it out there, but children are probably just like walking bacteria. I know, I'm a mother, I can say it, I have a child as well, and trust me, children are freaking walking bacteria. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. A lot of moms are gonna be very angry with me in this video. I don't give a rat's ass. It's the truth. And I was so fired up and so angry at this woman for not letting me allow 2 adults. They're like literally in complete separate times of day. When the father of my baby came along, he came in at, like I said, nighttime, which meant there was not going to be anybody around anyway to be, I don't know, to get corona or whatever. It's bullshit. And my sister came during visiting hours, and she left as well. She had a mask on. She had gloves on if needed be, you know. You name it, and that's wrong with children that touch and lick and fucking do everything. That's okay because they're a family? Fuck that. I'm sorry. I am pissed off as hell that that's the way they did it in Holland, and they literally ruined my kind of labor experience, if you will. I was alone all of the damn time, and you have to realize I'm in pain. I was in pain 24 hours a day. I couldn't sleep. I had a hard time sleeping. And they gave me 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day. They shot me with 7.5 cc of morphine. And, you know, I was scared. I was scared at the same time. I was angry. I was scared. I was in pain because morphine is not good for the baby. And eventually, I'm skipping along, but eventually, I'll say this later on in the video, but it did hurt the baby. So, to come back, they wanted to do an MRI to see what was wrong because the neurologist, wow, I can't speak. The neurologist came into my room and was checking out my leg. So he was, you know, with a little hammer that they do on your knee and your leg like shoots up, you know, stuff like that. So he did it on my left leg, which was fine. It shot up and it did everything it was supposed to do. But then he did my right leg and it didn't shut up. So, like shoot up, you know what I mean? So he told me, like, wiggle your toes and try to, like, you know, when you have your feet, and he said, like, try to bend your feet towards your body. So your toes up in the air, you know, trying to bend your feet towards your body. Left leg worked like a charm. The right leg, however, I could not bend my foot or my toes. I couldn't wiggle my toes, and that's when I realized, holy shit, like I can't wiggle my toes. Something's seriously up now. So he told me, like, you're gonna get an MRI. We're gonna see what the hell's wrong with you. Fortunately, I should say, not unfortunately, but fortunately, a pregnant woman is allowed an MRI, not, you know, like the CAT scan, but I was allowed an MRI. So we did the MRI, and later on the neurologist came back and told me, we understand why you're in such pain. You have a double hernia and your nerve system. That's what I explained in the beginning of the video. The baby, like I said, was growing on the inside instead of the outside. So what had happened was the placenta and the baby were pushing towards my backbone. And what actually had happened is your nerve system is right in between. And the whole placenta, so the baby was pushing and like squishing my nerve system. And of course also causing a double hernia in my lower back. And what had happened was my nerve got severely damaged, which means that I couldn't, that's why I was in such pain, because it was just unbearable. And I was walking around for like 3 months up to that point with that pain, so it was way too long. And that's why I was in so much pain. That's why I couldn't wiggle my toes anymore, because my nerve system was kind of well, sort of broken because it got squished, basically. So we knew what was wrong. However, I was 35 weeks pregnant, so I couldn't just yet give birth, but we have decided, all of the doctors and of course me, that I could not give a natural birth because I couldn't lift this leg. I couldn't do anything with this leg. I couldn't even walk at that point. I was laying in bed the entire time, so I had to take shots against like blood clumps and stuff like that because you're not moving. So I had to take shots for that. You have, of course, the shot of, God, what is it called? The water just dripping to make sure you're not dehydrated. Wow, I can't speak today. To make sure you're not dehydrating. Then, of course, I had the morphine shots, and then I had a whole bunch of pills that I had to take. I mean, it was just insane. So now that we knew where my pain came from, the problem was we could not get the baby. We agreed that because I couldn't, like I said, because I couldn't move my leg, I couldn't do anything with the leg, I had to get a C-section, and that was, you know, the plan. But to get a C-section, usually they wait up to 39 weeks, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. So I didn't have to make the 40, but I had to make 39, and that was still 4 weeks. 4 weeks of pain, of not being able to move. I couldn't even pee at one point anymore. Like, enough was enough. And I told him, like, I don't think I cannot manage to wait 4 more weeks. There is just no way in hell. So they did an ultrasound to see how the baby was doing. And mind you, I told you guys in my previous videos that the baby was quite big. You will know he was on the larger side. So now they did an ultrasound and they found out that the baby was actually not big anymore at all. He was where he was exactly like where he was supposed to be at 35 weeks. So the doctors were like, oh, he's great. He's right where he's supposed to be. And, you know, went off. And I was just like, wait a minute. The weight that they told me and the approximately like the length, that was where he was at 4 weeks prior during my last ultrasound. So I was like, no, I know he's where he's supposed to be, but he was at this weight and at this length 4 weeks ago, which means he did not grow for those 4 weeks in my tummy, which is actually, if you look at it, pretty normal considering the fact that I was in so much pain, my body was in so much stress, and it will reflect on your baby. So my baby did not grow for 4 weeks, even though for them it was a normal size and weight. Like I said, he was about 4 weeks, you know, where he should have been. He was like ahead. For them it was normal, for me it was not, because I knew something's up with the baby. This is not good. And I told him, like, look, this ain't good. But of course, in Holland, there's such a thing here in Holland where just because they've finished doctor school or whatever, they finished medicine, they immediately think that they're superior and know everything, and you know nothing because you're just a peasant. Here's the thing. You can be the doctor, you can be the greatest specialist in the world. I know my body. Nobody knows my body like me. And I don't cry at like a little cut. Like, I can handle pain. But this was just too much. And I knew something was wrong with the baby. I knew something was wrong with me. And I told him, like, something is up. I understand that I have a double hernia and that my nerve system is a little bit fucked up right now. And I understand where my pain comes from. But my baby has not grown in 4 weeks. Of course, nobody was listening to me, because screw me, right? I'm just a patient. You're just a number in Dutch hospitals, especially here in Arnhem. You're worth nothing. Okay, so finally, they told me what we're going to do is we're going to actually swoop you towards a different city. And it's a different hospital, but it's the same like general hospital, but it's just a different building. And the ambulance is going to take you. You're going to get a shot in your back. Well, I was like, hell to the no. Like, I had enough of shots. This baby needs to get out. That's the only thing we need to do. We need to get this baby out now. And by that point, I was 36 weeks because already a week had passed when I was in the hospital already. So I told him, like, I had enough of shots of this, of that. You guys are not listening to me. I had a lot of discussions in that hospital, heated discussions with those damn gynecologist because they were not listening. And that's kind of the thing that hurt the most. You're just not listening to me. Like, I understand you're the doctor, I'm the patient, I'm just a number, but I know my body way better than you guys do. Trust me, something is up. So they didn't listen again. And what they told me was, well, if we take out this baby now, you're still going to have to deal with a double hernia and, of course, the nerve system that has to repair, if it's going to repair. So that's not just going to go away. And I told him, like, yes, it is. I trust my body. I know what's wrong. The baby is just pushing so hard, and it's pushing harder and harder and harder every day because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I told him, we need to get this baby out. I know it's premature, but we need to. That's the only way I can literally save myself from pain, because if I'm gonna collapse from pain, like, I still need to be able physically to take care of a freaking newborn baby. I can't do that if I'm dying in pain. So just let this baby out now. I understand the risks involved when it's premature, but you know, at least I can be there for that child, because when I'm like down and under in bed because of all the pain and all the meds that I've taken, I'm useless to this child, and I need to be a mom. So they didn't, of course. They took me towards the other hospital. They put a shot in my back because that was supposed to be this wonder shot that was supposed to make sure that all of my pain would just go away, and I was able to wait another, at that point I was 36 and a half weeks, because a lot of days pass till you can go there. And they put in the shot, and truth be told, the shot did squat. So after about 2 or 3 days after the shot, because they told me, like, okay, you're gonna have to wait a couple of days for the shot to work. Of course, the shot did not work, which is something that I told them from the beginning off already. So we had like kind of an emergency meeting at night with the doctor and the head gynecologist that was there that night. And we had a very heated discussion, and I told him, like, I'm done. I'm going to be 37 weeks soon enough. Done. I swear to God, I'm done. And they told me, like, if I could at least push to 37 weeks, because the baby would be done in the belly, because that's at 37 weeks you're allowed to give birth even at home. So, you know, when the baby presents itself at 37 weeks, you're pretty much good to go. Of course, it's better off to wait the 40 weeks, but if the baby presents itself early with 37 weeks, you know, you have a green light, you're good to go. It's still considered premature, especially for a C-section, because it's still, you know, a bit too early, but they told me try to push to 37 weeks and we'll see from there. And I told them that night, like, I'm gonna be 37 weeks in like 2 days, I'm done. Like, at that 37, the baby needs to come out, because I am literally dying. And thank goodness, the gynecologist that was there actually saw me in my second trimester, and he said to me, this is literally a completely different woman that I'm seeing from when I saw you then. So he finally understood, like, the situation. He understood that this was really going the wrong way. And behind the scenes is something I found out later on. But he actually said with the other gynecologist, he thought, well, if she was the wife of a gynecologist, she wouldn't be waiting this long. But since I'm not, screw me, right? I could wait. So eventually, this gynecologist, like, the dude saved my life. He put me on the list, and I was good to go for a C-section at 37 weeks plus 1 day, because it was the weekends. You know, I had to wait till Monday. No, actually, excuse me, it was Friday, right before the weekend, because I know I had a heated discussion with another gynecologist as well, because they wanted me to wait till Monday. And I told them, like, look, that's 3 extra days in misery, in pain. We're not gonna do that. Like, no, this baby needs to come out before the weekend or in the weekend. I don't care, but this baby needs to come out. So finally it was settled, and the baby was gonna come that Friday at 10:14. We delivered my beautiful little baby boy. His name is Alexander Aaron Schest, which is my last name. He's carrying my last name. I remember when we went in like that's a whole separate story. I mean, we went in. I had to they take you to a room, like pre-operative room, if that makes any sense, to prep you, if you will. And I remember the doctor, the gynecologist came in, and I told him, like, I'm nervous. I really am, because before that there was this not a baby doctor, I don't know the official English words, but basically a doctor that was specialized in babies and children. And she told me, if you take 2 shots, yes, again with the damn shots, but if you take 2 shots, it will help develop the lung system of your baby boy, because he's going to be born prematurely. So I took the shots, of course, and I remember in that room before the operation room, I remember I told that gynecologist I was nervous, because as much as I do want this baby out, you know, to save myself and to be able to be there for him because of the pain that I had, I was also very, very nervous, because this is a huge risk you're taking. If your baby is not fully developed, there can be serious complications. So it was weighing his health against my health, as horrible as that sounds. And not necessarily that I put my health above his, but I knew if I was in lack of health and he was in lack of health, I would have a serious, serious problem. So I figured, at least if I could save my health, it would be easier on him, because they did about 2 ultrasounds before, like a couple of days before the eventual C-section. And what we found out on the ultrasound was that the baby's heart was going from 200 all the way down to 70 or 60, and then 220. You know, his heart was all over the place. He wasn't necessarily growing as much as he should have been growing. And I just, you know, like I said, the doctors told me, like, oh, he's right where he's supposed to be, you know, towards their little booklet. And that's great, but I knew all of this damn time I used to have a bigger baby. So I knew something was wrong with him. I don't know, a mother just sensed, if we don't get this baby out now, something horrible is going to happen to him, and I just don't want that. So I was nervous, you know. This was a huge decision that I did not figure I would have to make in my first ever pregnancy. I figured, you know, everything was going to go great, but of course up to that point, the whole pregnancy, as y'all probably, if you've seen my other 2 videos, know, has been anything but normal. So the doctor, the gynecologist that was there, actually told me, I'm going to do the surgery. And I was like, oh, because I didn't know that he does surgery as well, because in Holland, I don't know what it's like, you know, in other countries. I only can speak for Holland, but I know that some doctors are certain doctors, and then you have surgeons, you know, and stuff like that. And every single one is a different specialist in something else. So this particular gynecologist also, of course, did C-sections. So he was going to perform my surgery, and this was the same doctor that said if she was the wife of the gynecologist, she wouldn't be waiting that long. So he was literally like an angel sent from heaven or something. I don't know, but he literally saved my ass and my baby's life, thank God, because I don't want to know what would happen during the longer run. So at that point, like I said, I was 37 weeks pregnant, so I was a little bit longer than 2 weeks in the hospital. And in those 2 weeks, like the full 2 weeks, I was taking 4 times a day morphine, sleeping pills, pills against my like nerve system, you know, to help him out. Then the shot in my back, the shot against clumping of the blood. I was taking, honestly, just so much crap that is just not good for the baby at all. So I was really happy we did the C-section. And I remember when I was lying there, I only thought to myself, like, if only the baby starts crying like crazy, then at least I know, like, the lungs are there, you know. You're not going to cry that loud and that hard if you have underdeveloped lungs. It's just not going to happen. So the only thing in my mind was, let the baby cry, let the baby cry, let the baby cry, you know, just please, dear God, just let the baby cry as loud as possible so that I know his lungs are okay. So, eventually, I ended up on the table, and they put up like this curtain so that you can't see what they're doing. And I'm going to be honest and say I did not realize how fast that curtain was going to drop, because they drop it when the baby gets lifted out. And I did not realize or understand how fast that actually was, because for my feeling, I was lying there for not even 5 minutes, for like 3 minutes or so, and they pulled down the curtain. I was like, what? How? How are you pulling out that baby so fast? But indeed, they pulled out his little face, and eventually he pulled him out, and I remember my baby came out with his hands like this, and his feet, his legs were like this as well, like a big hug towards mama. It was so heartwarming to see that. But at the same time, I will honestly say, I couldn't really, how can I say this? I think the doctors noticed, because the baby is placed right here and you're kind of nude under there to keep the body warm, you know, from the baby. And then they, of course, put him in towels and stuff like that. But the baby's placed here. And I couldn't really honestly enjoy that moment as much as probably other mothers could, because that C-section is not easy. It is real. It hurt. They told me it's not going to hurt. It's just going to be uncomfortable because there's going to be a lot of pulling, and you know, stuff like that on your belly. And of course, you're going to feel like the pulling and the tucking, and you name it, you're going to feel that. But it was burning on the inside for me. It was not just pulling and tucking. It was burning. It was not a nice feeling at all. So when they placed the baby on me, I wasn't able to enjoy the full moment just yet, but it was probably also a lot of stress for me, because I was relieved finally after all of those weeks in the hospital, and of course the 3 months prior that I already was in such pain, to realize it's over. You know, the pain is going to be over. The baby is out, and thank goodness the baby was healthy. He was quite small, and he was 44 centimeters, and he was only 2 kilos and 600 grams, which is very small. But again, like the doctor said, it was up to scale for the amount of weeks that I was. But like I said before, I knew my baby was supposed to be like 4 weeks further on, so he was supposed to be a lot bigger and a lot thicker, and he wasn't. Like, his arms were yay small. For the people that follow me on Facebook, you can actually see the pictures, because I posted pictures on my Facebook, and I think I posted a couple of them. Yeah, I posted quite a lot on Instagram as well, and you can see how teeny tiny his little hands are and arms, and he had like long feet. He has long feet, like he has his dad's feet. But he was just so thin, and I swear to God, I was so afraid, because he was so fragile. I was so afraid I was going to break him or whatever by lifting him. But thank goodness, as soon as they pulled him out, he was screaming at the top of his lungs, and I was so happy for that. Afterwards, when they were done with the C-section, or actually done, the baby was out, and then they suck up the placenta. I know that sounds really horrible, and for people who've never done a C-section, let me just demonstrate. They put this basically vacuum into your uterus, and you hear a sound, and that is literally the placenta being sucked in that vacuum. They're literally vacuuming you from the inside. And they said that I was not supposed to feel anything. I did. It was not pleasant. Let me tell you that. I could not wait for that section to be over, and thank goodness, as soon as it was over, they put you on a pump of morphine, and you have to click it every time you feel pain, and there's a stopper on there, so if I click 5 times, it's only going to drop once every, I don't know how many minutes you're allowed to click. But like I said, you could click all day long. There's not gonna, you know, there's not that much morphine that's gonna be distributed. It has a stopper on it. So when I was in the sleeping room, they call it here in Holland. So after surgery, you're gonna go for about an hour and a half in a sleeping room so that you can sleep, you know, the morphine off, but the anesthesia off, basically. So I was put on the pump, and my uterus was burning, and I mean burning from the inside. It was horrible. It's literally something I don't want to feel again. It really, really was horrible. So I was pumping away, clicking away on that button, and of course the morphine got distributed, and it was okay, but the pain was still there. So eventually, after a couple of hours, they brought me to the room where the father of the baby was with the baby the entire time, because I, of course, couldn't be. And then I was reunited with my son. And unfortunately for me, what had happened, apparently, because I can't remember squat, I know one nurse told me, I remember having the baby right on top of me, and I don't know if I didn't fall asleep because I wasn't sleeping, but I was just gone. And I woke up hours later with no baby on me, and with a lot of nurses around me, and I'm not really sure what happened. I know that the nurse, I know what happened from the nurse, let me put it that way. So basically what had happened was I was gone. My vitals were okay, but she called in the gynecologist, the doctor, and the neurologist, if I'm not mistaken. And the neurologist, she told me, did a couple of tests. So she put a pencil, or a pen actually, like this on your nails, and then they squeeze it down, which, ow, that really does hurt. But basically it hurts a lot. So it's supposed to be, they do that so you you contract your fingers, so they know, like, hey, you're either sleeping or unconscious, but you're there, you know, you're okay. But I wasn't budging my fingers, so she poked in my eyes. Actually, she told me that she was squeezing very hard on, like, my eyes, and they told me, like, tears were coming down from my eyes. And that is very painful, she said, but I was not reacting to it. So I don't know what had happened. I do remember kind of sort of waking up, let's say, and just being like, because I wasn't able to breathe. Even though, like I said, my vitals were fine, so they put me off of that morphine pump because they think that that particular morphine, maybe it was a different brand. I don't know, because a lot of people say morphine is morphine. Not really. There are different brands out there that produce morphine, and this particular pump, they put it away because something was up ever since I got that pump. I was just out of it all of a sudden, and they were quite worried because it's a long time, and I just wasn't reacting at all. She told me, like, she was slapping my face, and she was, like, pushing me, like, wake up, and I was just not waking up. So they took off that morphine, they put me on different morphine, and I was doing okay. So I had to stay in the hospital for a couple of days for myself, but also for my son. He was premature. He was in my room. He did not have to be in that little box that they put premature babies in, because he was breathing fine, but he was put on a monitor. So that means he had, like, those little stickers all over him, like all of those wires hanging, and you name it. But usually they have those on for at least 48 hours, to check if the baby is really okay. However, by some miracle, that little fella is one hell of a soldier, because the little fella was put off of the monitor, and we could go home pretty much within 30 hours of me giving birth. That little guy is so strong, and he did such an amazing job. He was opening his eyes the entire time. He was sleeping well, he was breathing well, all of his vitals were really, like, not okay, but, like, really, really good. So we were allowed to take him home, and like I mentioned to all of the damn doctors all of those weeks before, and all of these heated discussions before, I walked. I walked immediately once, of course, I came to. You're still stuck with a TMI, but you're still stuck with a catheter between your legs for your pee. But eventually they told me, like, try to stand up, because I couldn't stand up. I skipped on a lot in this video because it's going to take too long. But basically what had happened in the hospital, like before the C-section, in those 2 weeks, I fell multiple times. I fell in the freaking bathroom, like, it's so... And it took not one, no guys, it took 3 nurses to get my big fat ass off the ground, and the door was wide open, so everybody in the hallway was free to see my ass fall in the toilet, like, well, from the toilet. I mean, Oh, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing those weeks. And like I said, three nurses, three nurses to get my fat ass up. It's unbelievable. But it happened, unfortunately. And eventually they put me on bed rest and they told me, like, if you need to go pee-pee, you're gonna get this wheelchair with a hole in it and a bucket underneath, and you're gonna go to the bathroom here and not to the bathroom, because I wasn't allowed to walk anymore. That's how bad and how like severe my situation was. So that's why I'm saying, like, I wasn't kidding. Like, I was falling all of the time. I couldn't walk. I literally couldn't move my legs anymore, or at least that one, the right one. So anyway, long story short, as soon as I was able to, or I was allowed, I should say, to stand up, I stood up, I walked towards the bathroom, I did my thing, I did everything. My pain was like, poof, gone. And that, I told the nurse, like, see, this is what I was trying to tell you. I understand that you guys are nurses and that the doctors are doctors, I understand. But nobody knows my body but me. And I just knew when that baby comes out, I'll be able to do anything. And there you have it. I did. So I was allowed, like I said, 30 hours after giving birth, I was allowed to go home with my beautiful baby. And I went home, and with a C-section, a lot of women say, well, not a lot of women say, everybody should be in bed for about 6 weeks. You know, it takes 6 weeks for your body to heal. I got home and I did not follow instructions, I will say that, but I did everything. I was like cleaning, vacuuming, like the second I got home, I was doing everything. I was capable to do so. I figured I have enough of lying in the damn hospital and in bed for months. Enough's enough. And honestly, I know my body, like I said, the best, and I know for a fact that my body recovers really, really fast. That's something I've always noticed in the past. Whenever I have a little wound or whatever, it heals really fast. And after surgery as well, I was always the first one to heal. So I knew my body is going to heal. So, you know, that is basically the story of my third trimester and the birth. It was horrible. I'll be honest, I'm not looking back at my pregnancy and the birth and saying, oh my God, it was so amazing. It was hell. And I'm glad I'm not pregnant anymore. I do want another baby. I will say that, not now, immediately. But I have one child and I want one more, and I feel like I'm complete. You know, my family is complete. I always said if I'm going to have kids and if I'm able to have kids, I would like to have two. And clearly I have a child, so I'm able to have kids. So I would like, in the future, I would like a second one. And that is that. No more. No more. Enough's enough. Like, I'm going to have to put myself through that shit again. Because of the fact that you have a C-section. They told me in the hospital next time, if I want, of course, next time. Next time I will have to give birth in the hospital again through C-section yet again. So we're hoping that the next baby, whenever that will take place, no, I'm not pregnant, but whenever it will take place, is not gonna go on the inside like this boy did, but on the outside. But everybody's pretty much afraid that the same thing will happen again, and that would suck. But honestly, you know, when you look at that beautiful little face and those beautiful blue eyes, it's worth it. I would gladly go through that again for another child. But let's just wait and enjoy this little fella. Okay, guys, I'm gonna grab him and I'm gonna show you guys my beautiful little boy. And here he is. Here is my beautiful little baby boy. Here is the beautiful Alexander. I'm sorry, I'm looking more in the viewfinder than I am in the camera because he's just so freaking gorgeous. He's gonna turn 1, like I said, next week. He was born on the 24th of July, so he's a little Leo. Yeah, that's you. Hey. And now you got lipstick on you. Wow. Mommy always covers you in lipstick, doesn't she? Because you have such kissable cheeks. So, yeah, if you guys want me to do a, wow, this is way too big. I bought him like this new suit for his birthday, but I guess I fucked something up with the buttons. Okay, he wants to watch his cartoons. For any, when it comes to I don't know if you guys want to know how I've been doing this past year, because I am a single mom. I'm doing everything on my own. Yeah, see, now he wants to talk. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know down below. I can make a video about that, of course. How my first year has been with this little fellow, where the things that I did need and the things that, for example, I didn't need, or some things that I discovered, you name it, I can make a video about that. Oh, and by the way, after my C-section, of course, I was still stuck with the double hernia and, of course, the nerve system. I did go to see the neurologist after a couple of weeks, and he told me within a year what comes back when it comes to my leg, because I had no feeling in my leg, I could hardly walk, you name it. But he told me what comes back within a year comes back. And what doesn't, doesn't. And of course, me being me, yeah. And of course, me being me, a year has passed and nothing has came back. I still don't feel my right leg. I can walk, however, and all that. I used to fall a lot when I was at home. I don't now anymore. I still fall a couple of times, but you know, it's something, it's a cross you need to bear to have this little bundle of joy right here with me, right? Right, say yeah. Say yeah. No, he's not gonna say anything. Anyway, so that is quite unfortunate. Like I said, I still don't feel my leg and that will never come back. But we just hope when it's the next time, it won't be, you know, like this. Anyway, that is it. I'm gonna wrap it up because this video has been way too long and of course long overdue. I hope you liked it. I would love to hear your stories down below in the comment section, so please leave me in the comment section how your pregnancy and birth has been, for the ones, of course, that have children, and let me know for the ones that don't have children. Do you plan on having kids, or you don't, for example? Everything is fine. I want to keep an open mind, no discussion. It doesn't matter. Everybody has their reasons. You never know somebody's story. So let me know in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. And now we're going to go ahead and play. We're going to go play. It's playtime. So see you guys the next time. Say bye. Bye. Say bye. Bye.